I'm going to begin by telling you something which you probably already know. Please forgive this, but I have a reason for doing it. Whilst the information is probably well known, it is not always fully appreciated. That's why I would like to explain it again. So here goes. Organisations have places, and they have areas. They have tools and equipment and machines. Organisations have computers and software and data and information. They have records and documents and procedures and processes. Yet when this valuable and varied set of resources is considered in detail, it cannot make change or progress. It cannot solve problems or identify errors. It cannot deliver a service. It cannot have ideas. It cannot innovate. It cannot learn. And it cannot grow. People are needed in order to achieve any of these things. So there it is again, something you probably already know. I just wanted to restate the importance of people and the things they know. It is true that people work better when they have the other resources, but they must know how to use them effectively. This is the point. It's what people know which is at the heart of any organisation. Knowledge structure mapping is a method which is completely focused on investigating the things which people need to know in order to carry out work effectively. So let me show you what knowledge structure mapping is. The heart of knowledge structure mapping is a map or diagram of the structure of a knowledge area as required by people. Everything else is based around the map, and everything it delivers is derived from the efforts used to create it. The map itself shows pieces of knowledge which each have a name, a definition, and a summary, as well as other properties. The term structure is used to indicate that the map and the way the pieces of knowledge are organised is based on a particular structure method. The method is called learning or knowledge dependency, and it applies only to people and not to documents or books or procedures or intranets. Knowledge structure mapping uses the fact that when people acquire knowledge, when they really know things, they build their knowledge on top of other knowledge. People need to know certain things before they can fully understand other things. When people build their knowledge in this way, they end up becoming, perhaps, experts, because the knowledge they build is very comprehensive and it allows the person holding the knowledge to use it in a rich variety of ways. This is what makes human knowledge different from document or computer-based knowledge. That, and because the knowledge held by people is fully integrated with a very capable inference and reasoning or thinking system, and people usually know why things are as they are. The map identifies pieces of knowledge, and these pieces of knowledge are linked together in a way which mirrors a typical human learning and understanding path through that knowledge. If someone understands this, then they must already know this and this, for instance. Once a knowledge structure map has been created, it shows the knowledge that a human expert in the knowledge area would know. Each knowledge item or node has a name, a definition, and a brief summary of its form or application. Nodes also contain opinion elicited from the human expert in the form of predefined parameter values. The values allow the knowledge study tool to deduce a very useful range of informative conclusions from the knowledge study. We could take a look at just a few of these study results and see how they might help people who manage or are responsible for a knowledge area. First, let's take a look at something called knowledge risk. By combining all parameter scores, which is really expert opinion, as a weighted average, it is possible to calculate knowledge risk, and it is also possible to state clearly what that risk actually means. We could look at the highest or top 10% of risk, or we could look at a colour-coded view of risk. We could even see a table of all the knowledge contained in the map in risk order. Whilst the tool combines all parameters in order to calculate risk, it is possible to consider just a few parameters together, and in that way probe the knowledge structure, asking various questions with each parameter combination. Which knowledge is thought to be most difficult to recover, and also learned most by experience rather than study, for instance? Instead of looking at and comparing averages, it is possible to consider high-risk trigger points. We could, for instance, look to see which knowledge is considered to be most specialised. We can see that the knowledge highlighted has a value of 8 or above for specialised, and this has identified quite a lot of specialised knowledge within this knowledge resource. We could change the trigger point so that we only look for knowledge which is assigned a value for specialised of 9 or 10, meaning only knowledge which is typically used in only one small knowledge area. In this case, we identify a much smaller group of knowledge nodes. Whilst the parameter values or expert opinion can offer a wealth of investigative options, there is also the knowledge structure to consider. For instance, which of the main knowledge subareas of the map holds the most knowledge? Which main knowledge subareas require this particular low-level knowledge item? Another structural consideration which can help provide managers with useful information about a knowledge resource is to consider how much knowledge overlap there is between separate knowledge or working areas. In some cases, there is little overlapping knowledge, or knowledge which is common to both areas. In other cases, the knowledge overlap can be considerable, and this might identify an important link between working areas. A knowledge structure map can be used throughout the life of a project or even business. If managers put systems in place to address perceived difficulties with a knowledge resource, it can be useful to re-evaluate expert opinion about the knowledge resource after 6 or 12 months. The new map with updated opinion can be compared with the previous map in order to consider improvement or growth. Even risk reduction can easily be inspected so that the effectiveness of systems can be estimated. Since the knowledge structure map is about the knowledge which people hold, it makes sense to associate people with the knowledge resource shown by the map. The important thing to include when adding a person to the knowledge study tool are the name, the start month and year, and the anticipated end of service month and year. Other details can be added to help make the information more complete. When a person is added to the knowledge structure map, it is then possible to associate the person's expertise with the knowledge shown on the map. It can be noticed that when a knowledge node is selected to assign expertise for a particular person, the tool also assigns the prerequisite knowledge of the selected knowledge item to the expertise list. This is valid because of the way the map is constructed through learning or knowledge dependency. A similar situation exists when assigning capability to a person. A capable person might not yet be an expert in a knowledge area, but is nevertheless someone who can be trusted to do the work or apply the knowledge, even if that person needs to seek help occasionally. Assigning responsibility is treated in a different way because people may become responsible for the protection and development of a knowledge area without being responsible for all of the prerequisite knowledge. Once people have been assigned to the knowledge resource, it is possible to inspect the knowledge within the context of the people. All of the people assigned can be listed. It can be noticed that the tool has calculated a risk for each person based on the amount of expertise they hold within the context of the map and the person's anticipated remaining service with the organisation. The map can be shown with experts highlighted. Selecting a node identifies who the experts are and whether they are employed by the company or contracted to it from another organisation. The same can be done for capability and responsibility. The term knowledgeable in this context means either expert or capable or both. The numbers shown for knowledgeable show the numbers of capable people only if they are not also assigned as experts in the same knowledge item. The map can show risk which people pose to the knowledge resource. It is necessary to select a risk weight before this view becomes available. People risk can be viewed as a standard knowledge resource probe and combined with other parameters if desired. This risk view concerns the knowledge node and all people assigned. The previous person risk concerned each individual and their own risk with respect to the entire knowledge structure. When a knowledge structure map is created for a large project, which might last several years, it is likely that only some of the knowledge shown on the map will be needed at any one time period of the project. For instance, the knowledge required at the start of the project might not be exactly the same as the knowledge required at the end, yet all of the knowledge will be shown on the map. Timeframes can be added to any knowledge node to indicate the period when the knowledge is needed. By default, the tool also assigns these timeframes to prerequisite knowledge, but this action can be turned off if desired. The tool organises the timeframes into order when new times are added or deleted. When timeframes have all been added, the map can be viewed within the context of those timeframes. The tool calculates change points where the knowledge needs change from one timeframe to another. These change points are shown on the map and can be stepped through easily using Control comma or Control dot on the keyboard or using the menu tabs. The map shows the changing knowledge requirements as time progresses. If the learn time parameter has been used within the knowledge study, then this information can be viewed either on its own or within the context of the changing knowledge requirements. On the when needed or time frame view, knowledge items which are highlighted are assumed to be known, and those which are dimmed are assumed to be unknown. Selecting a knowledge node, therefore, shows the estimated learn time for that knowledge node within the context of what is known and what is not known at that time. Experts, capable people, and knowledgeable people can also be viewed within the context of time frames. There is a great deal more which this method and associated knowledge study tool can say about an applied knowledge resource and the people who hold the knowledge. I hope that this brief overview has provided a flavour for the sort of information that people who are responsible for a knowledge area or business area or even entire organisation can access through an easy to read map, tables and charts. This data is held within a single file when saved, and the analytical views and more shown here can be exported as resources to use within a business context. The final capability I will show you probably summarises much of the information which becomes available following a well-organised and carefully delivered knowledge study. This is the export of a web resource, which can be inspected more globally by anyone to whom the organisation allows access. All of the information collected from a knowledge study, and most of the analytical information derived from it, can be made available easily after a complete study and access using a standard web browser. The web resource should be created in an empty directory. The map view currently showing will appear in the web resource. For example, the map might just show nodes, or nodes with colours, or with time frame views, or other views. It is only necessary to tell the knowledge study tool to make the website, carefully directing it to the empty directory which has been created for it. After a few seconds, the website has been created. The main access page for this resource is the index file. Double-clicking this file will normally call the PC's browser, and the resource can then be inspected in the same way as any other web resource. This one contains a few things which have not been discussed in the brief introduction, such as additional knowledge documentation. However, if this information is not added, the menu access to it will not be created. It should be remembered that this resource has been created automatically within a few seconds, so one should expect some simplistic English and other shortcuts in one or two areas. The main areas of the web resource show the main sub-knowledge items, along with associated risk. The tool has also tried to add some helpful text to summarise this view. Most of the web resource is fully indexed, so selecting a knowledge item from the table will take the user to a page about that knowledge item. The page created for every node on the map provides a copy of the text added to the map during its creation. It will provide access to additional documentation if made available. The tool exports information about knowledge risk with respect to a knowledge item. It provides immediate access to knowledge parents and children. It lists all parameter values assigned along with their textual explanation. It shows the people involved with the knowledge. It shows which time frames the knowledge is required within, and it shows other information. A knowledge risk page summarises knowledge risk with respect to the entire knowledge resource, including any people-based risks. The value spread page looks at how all parameter values have been assigned across the entire knowledge study. A study synopsis page provides a broad summary of the entire study along with the knowledge overlap data. The people page shows the list of all of the people assigned to the study along with information about their assignment. Selecting the full knowledge list from this page provides a table of all knowledge nodes in risk order, with experts and others assigned to each node indexed from the table. Each person's page provides a little more information about their assignment with respect to this knowledge resource. The map page provides a small view of the entire map, which can also be used to index to any individual knowledge item from the study. The last thing I will highlight from this web resource is the timescales page. This provides a chart to show when each item of knowledge is required within the project or business timeframes. The page provides access to the timeframe maps. It also provides access to a view of the change points which the tool has computed from the time-based data added during the creation of the map. Whilst the web resource is much larger than the few pages considered here, again, I hope I have provided a flavour for the web-based option of summarising a knowledge study. It is now time to repeat the message from the beginning of this presentation. The knowledge held by people is probably the most important asset for any organisation, whether the organisation is a business, a service, a government, a charity, or anything else with people at its heart. Knowledge structure mapping is entirely focused on the study and analysis of this particular aspect of the knowledge resource. The information opened up by a good knowledge study will be an invaluable source of information for any organisation.